Okay, you guys, welcome to part 9 of Charlie's Corner, the Serve-Safe testing. Now, I wanted to tell you guys exactly why I'm doing all of this right here on my YouTube channel. It is because I think by me doing this on my YouTube channel, it helps me to remember things a lot better, plus I'm teaching a lot of other people. Because definitely, I'm going to go back to my very own videos, and I'm going to read along with my videos during my own alone time, so that it's kind of like I'm teaching myself. Like I'm reading along, teaching myself. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. And also, if somebody else, if I could teach other people about this stuff, just for you to know in your own home, or if you're actually a manager somewhere and you're dealing with food, you can learn a lot more about this. And if you plan on taking the Serve-Safe test, here you go, all the answers like basically in one. So I just thought it was a very good idea. So we're going to continue with what we were reading about. And in this chapter, we're talking about the flow of food, purchasing, receiving, and storage. So, refrigerated and frozen storage. As a manager, you are responsible for making sure that your operations' coolers and freezers are keeping cold food cold and frozen food frozen. When coolers and freezers are not working the right way, the food in them can become time-temperature abused. Following the guidelines below for refrigerated and food storage. And remember, time-temperature abuse is basically when it is in the danger zone, or it is not being monitored and causing your food to go bad. So maintenance. Schedule regular maintenance as shown in the photo at the left on coolers and freezers to make sure they stay at the right temperatures. Defrost freezers to allow them to operate more efficiently. Temperatures. Set the temperature of coolers to keep the internal temperature of the TCH food at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Remember, that is temperature control for safety, unless otherwise indicated by the manufacturer or your regulatory authority. Fresh eggs must be kept at an air temperature of 45 degrees or lower. And I had missed that question earlier, I believe, so I'm going to highlight that again. Fresh eggs must be kept at an air temperature of 45 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Set freezers to keep products frozen. This temperature will vary from product to product. Monitoring. Monitor food temperatures regularly. Randomly sample the temperature of stored food to verify that the cooler is working. Check cooler temperatures at least once during each shift. Place hanging thermometers inside the cooler to make sure this task is easy to do. Some coolers have a temperature readout on the outside as shown in the photo at the left. Also check these for accuracy. Airflow. Do not overload coolers or freezers. Storing too many food items prevents good airflow and makes the units work harder to stay cold. Be aware that frequent operating of the cooler lets warm air inside, which can affect food safely. Consider using cold curtains and walk-in coolers to help maintain temperatures. Use open shelving. Lining shelves with aluminum foil, sheet pans, or paper restricts circulation of cold air in the unit. So, preventing cross-contamination, you guys, which is what we read about in pretty much chapter 1 and 2. Store food in ways that prevent food cross-contamination. Wrap or cover food. Store refrigerated raw meat, poultry, and seafood in separately ready-to-eat food. Or separately from ready-to-eat food, sorry. If raw and ready-to-eat food cannot be stored separately, store ready-to-eat food above raw meat, poultry, and seafood as shown in the photo below. And ready-to-eat food, I believe, is the food that you buy that's like packaged and all that stuff. This will prevent juices from raw food from dripping on a ready-to-eat food. Raw meat, poultry, and seafood can be stored with or above ready-to-eat food in a freezer if all the items have been commercially processed and packaged. Store raw meat, poultry, and seafood in coolers in the following top to bottom order. Seafood, whole cuts of beef and pork, ground meat and ground fish, whole and ground poultry. This order is based on the minimum internal cooking temperature of each food. So, ready-to-eat food would be the first one. Seafood, second. Whole cuts of beef and pork is the third. Ground beef and meat, or ground meat and ground fish, and whole and ground poultry. And here's like a little picture if you guys can kind of see it right there. So, ready-to-eat food first. Seafood. Whole cuts of beef and pork, ground meat and ground fish, and whole and ground poultry. And that will probably be on a test somewhere, so that's definitely something I'm going to have to remember in which order they go in. Looks like it'll be a test question. And I guess a way that you can remember that is RSWDE. Or really? Yeah. So RSWDW, you know, abbreviated, could be an easy way to remember that. So ready-to-eat food, seafood, whole cuts of beef and pork, ground meat and ground fish, and whole and ground poultry. That's a G, not a D. Okay, so dry storage. Follow these guidelines when placing food and other items in dry storage. Keep dry storage areas cool and dry. To keep food at its highest quality and to ensure food safety, the temperature of the dry storage area should be between 50 degrees and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Store dry food away from walls and at least 6 inches off the floor. Make sure dry storage areas are well ventilated to help keep temperature and humidity constant throughout the storage area. So once again, keep it away from the wall and 6 inches from the floor. Okay, so we're at a apply your knowledge area. It says load the cooler. Next to the number of each food item, write the letter of the shelf it belongs on. So we actually just read this, so we're gonna have to figure this out. So it has A, B, and C, and then 1 is whole meat, 2 is whole chicken, 3 pecan pie, and 4 raw ground beef. So let me try to do this. So of course pumpkin pie would go on shelf A because that's a ready-to-eat food. And remember what we just learned, the R something, ready to eat, which I'm going to cheat and go back. Ready to eat, seafood, whole cuts of beef and pork, ground meat. So raw ground beef is going to be number 4. So I believe that's going to be D. Whole chicken. No, that's gonna, yeah. Well, that's gonna be D. I think the meat will actually be C. It's weird because there's like 5 right here, 5 options right here, and only 4 options right here. That one's C. So I think it's C, B, A, and D. So let's check for the answers and see. No, it's actually B, A, D, and C. See, so I would have got all that wrong. That's terrible. That is horrible. So it's B, A, D, C. And I was thrown off because on this page it shows 5 options. But no comment. So yeah, B, A, D, and C. So it'll go whole chicken, or, no, wait. Whole meat, whole chicken. This is so weird. Why would pecan pie go on D? Well, anyway, that was weird. So, find the unsafe storage practices in this picture. Let's see. Well, the cooler's open. The chemicals and the cleaning supplies are too close to the dry storage area. Are too close to product. The rice is on the floor. What else? Oh, items too close to the wall. Let's see, I think food items are on wrong shelf. So let's see what oh shit, what this had to say about it. Okay, so chemicals are stored with food stored on the floor, boxes of food not labeled. Okay, so I forgot that one. Spilled food not cleaned up. Cooler door open, overstocked cooler. Ready to eat food on the wrong shelf. Area not clean, unlabeled items in cooler. So, of course, I missed a couple of things there. So, food items should have been labeled. Food should not have been on the ground. The refrigerator is overstocked. So, very interesting. So, at least I can go back and say, well, I got some things right, but, you know, I learned about the things that were missing. So, still got a lot to learn, no comment. So, chapter summary. Always purchase food from approved, reputable suppliers. And this is what I say about the chapter summary. At least it covers some of the big things. Suppliers must be inspected regularly and be in compliance with local, state, and federal laws. Develop a relationship with your suppliers and get to know their food safety practices. Plan delivery schedules so that food is handled the right way. Staff should know how to accept or reject food during receiving. Food must be delivered at the right temperature. Frozen food should not have been thawed and refrozen. So definitely all that stuff. Check the color, texture, and odor of all food, especially meat, poultry, and fish. The packaging of all deliveries should be clean and undamaged. Use by date should be current, and food should show no signs of mishandling. Rotate food in storage to use the oldest inventory first. Label all temperature control for safety foods. Ready to eat food prepped in-house that you have held longer than 24 hours. Throw away food that has passed its expiration date. Store refrigerated raw meat, poultry, and seafood separately from ready-to-eat food. If you cannot store them separately, store ready-to-eat food above raw seafood, meat, and poultry. And like I said, you know, when I do it right here on the show, I actually go back on my own time and figure and read all this stuff over again just to make sure I'm doing it right. So I'm actually going to do the study questions and all that stuff a little bit later on my own. So, that was Chapter 6, ladies and gentlemen. The flow of food purchasing, receiving, and storage. So once again, we have learned a little bit more, and like I said, I'm going to go back and review all this stuff as I always do to make sure that I actually do know it, and then go ahead and do the chapter questions. So definitely have a lot more chapters to go through, 7 through 14. So throughout this entire week, you guys, I'm going to be on here at whatever time that I get, and we're going to be on here doing some more reading out of this chapter book, okay? So thank you guys for watching today's show. I do have a couple more videos that I have to get out tonight, so stay tuned for those. And be sure to comment, let me know what you guys think about this. Subscribe, rate, tell me what you think, and definitely tell me if there's any ways that I can study and do better. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. So, holla.